All right, strap yourselves in, everybody, because we are going deep on the new Superman movie coming out in 2025.
I think you know Superman. Think again.
We're talking origin story. We're talking a whole new DC universe.
A complete reboot.
Yeah, and get this, our intel is coming straight from a Wikipedia article in Arabic.
That's right, Arabic. It's packed with stuff you won't find anywhere else.
Casting choices, plot hints, you name it.
We're talking some serious Kryptonian intel here, folks.
So let's jump right in. First things first, this new Superman movie, it's the first in a brand new DC universe.
A clean slate.
Exactly. No baggage, no messy continuity.
Just pure Superman.
And they're going back to the beginning.
Back to Smallville.
Yeah, but this time they're going deep on the whole Kryptonian versus human thing.
That inner struggle, you know.
Yeah.
Where do I belong? What's my purpose?
Yeah, it's that classic superhero dilemma, but amplified.
Times 1,000.
Imagine being the last son of a lost civilization, carrying all that weight, but also trying to fit in as a normal farm boy in Smallville.
Talk about an identity crisis.
Right. So, on one hand, you've got this extraordinary being with powers beyond belief, and on the other, you've got Clark Kent, the all-American kid next door.
How do those two sides coexist?
That's what this movie's going to explore, and I think that's what's going to make it so interesting.
It's not just about Superman saving the day.
It's about Superman figuring out who he is.
Becoming the hero.
And speaking of figuring things out, let's talk about the man behind the camera, James Gunn.
The mastermind.
Now, if you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy or The Suicide Squad,
You know this guy is a visionary.
he's not afraid to take risks, to blend humor and action with real heart.
He makes you care about the characters.
Even the ones who are a little, well, rough around the edges.
He finds the humanity in everyone.
Exactly. So what does this mean for Superman?
Buckle up.
We're talking epic action, laugh-out-loud moments, and those quiet, character-driven scenes that just hit you right in the feels.
It's going to be a wild ride.
All right, so we've got the director, but what about the man in the cape?
Superman himself.
David Corenswet. Remember that name?
You might recognize him from Pearl or The Politician.
But he's about to become a household name.
This Superman is young, around 25,
Older than Tom Welling's Smallville Superman.
but younger than Henry Cavill's.
He's right in that sweet spot. You know,
Yeah, like he's still figuring things out, still growing into the role,
Still making mistakes.
which is interesting because it adds another layer to the whole identity thing.
He's not perfect.
Not yet,
He's
anyway.
got to earn it.
All right, we've got Superman, but what about his leading lady?
Lois Lane.
And playing the iconic reporter.
Rachel Brosnahan.
You know her from the marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
She's incredible.
And get this Lois Lane, she's not just a damsel in distress.
Oh no, this Lois is sharp. She's brave.
She's a force to be reckoned with.
She's not afraid to go toe-to-toe with Superman.
She challenges him, pushes him to be better.
They're equals.
Partners.
It's a dynamic we haven't really seen before in a Superman movie.
And I, for one, am here for it. All right, we've got Superman, we've got Lois Lane, but what about the villain?
Every hero needs a good antagonist.
And this time, it's Lex Luthor,
Played by Nicholas Hoult.
Mad Max. Fury Road, The Favorite, this guy has range.
Serious range.
And he's pulling inspiration from both Michael Rosenbaum's Lex Luthor in Smallville
That charming, cunning businessman.
and the ruthless scientific genius from the comics.
It's a dangerous combination.
So we're not just talking about a physical threat.
We're talking mind games.
Manipulation.
This Lex Luthor is going to get inside Superman's head
It's going to be a battle for Metropolis.
and for Superman's soul.
Okay, so we've got the main players, but this movie is packed with other DC Comics characters.
A whole cast of heroes and villains.
We've got Isabella Merced as Hawkgirl.
5'1", but don't let that fool you.
She's a powerhouse.
She's going to bring the thunder.
We've got Eddie Gathegi as Mr. Terrific.
A genius inventor.
The master strategist.
He's going to be supplying the team with some serious tech.
And we can't forget about Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner.
The Green Lantern with a bit of an attitude.
And yes, he's got the bull haircut.
You can't have Guy Gardner without it.
Oh, and Anthony Kerrigan?
From Gotham.
He's playing Metamorpho.
The shape-shifting hero.
It's a wild cast of characters.
And they're all connected to Superman in some way.
All right, so we've got the characters, but let's talk about the setting.
Smallville.
They're really diving deep into Superman's early years.
Exploring those formative experiences that shaped him into the hero he becomes.
Think about it. How did growing up in Smallville with the Kents as his parents instill those values of compassion and responsibility?
How did it prepare him for the weight of the world?
It's all about those human connections, right?
It's relationships that ground him.
That remind him of what he's fighting for.
It's about finding that balance.
Between his extraordinary powers and the ordinary life he once knew.
And that's what makes this Superman movie so compelling.
It's not just about saving the world, it's about finding yourself.
Understanding your place in it.
And embracing those dualities that make you who you are. Well said. And you know what? There's so much more to unpack here.
Oh yeah, we're just getting started.
But we'll save that for part 2 of this epic deep dive.
Stay tuned, folks, because things are about to get even more interesting.
Don't touch that dial.
You know what really gets me about this article?
What's that?
It's how much they're focusing on the people around Superman. You know?
Like the supporting cast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like they're not just throwing in random characters for the sake of it.
That's like they actually matter.
They matter to Clark's story,
Yeah.
to his development as a hero.
And to the overall plot.
Right. So we've got to talk about the folks back in Smallville.
Ma and Pa Kent.
The heart and soul of Superman.
The ones who found this alien baby in a spaceship and said, yep, we're keeping him.
Talk about a life-changing event.
Imagine being these simple farmers and suddenly you're raising the future savior of the world.
No pressure, right?
I mean, what do you even teach a kid with superpowers?
How to milk a cow that can shoot lasers from its eyes.
Well, in this film, Jonathan Kent is being played by Pruitt Taylor Vance.
And Martha Kent is being played by Neva Howell.
Now, both of these actors are incredible.
They have this warmth, this genuine goodness that just radiates off the screen.
So we can expect some heartwarming scenes.
Some good old-fashioned family values.
But also that underlying tension.
A Kent's knowing Clark's secret.
Trying to guide him, protect him.
While also letting him become the hero he's meant to be.
It's a tough balance.
Especially when your son can fly and shoot lasers from his eyes.
Okay, so we've got Smallville, but Clark can't stay on the farm forever.
He's got to make a living.
Gotta pay those super rent bills somehow.
And where does every aspiring reporter end up?
The Daily Planet.
That bustling newsroom, always chasing the next big story.
And let's be real, the Daily Planet in this movie, it's not just a backdrop.
It's a character in itself.
With its own cast of colorful characters.
And they've brought in some serious talent to fill those roles.
We've got Beck Bennett playing Steve Lombard.
That competitive reporter who's always trying to scoop Clark.
He's kind of a jerk, but in a lovable way.
Maybe.
And Michaela Hoover is playing Cat Grant.
The gossip queen.
She's got her finger on the pulse of Metropolis.
And she's not afraid to use it.
Imagine the drama.
The tension.
Clark trying to keep his Superman identity a secret.
While working alongside these ambitious, nosy reporters.
It's a recipe for disaster.
Or at least some hilarious close calls.
Okay, but hold on, because this article drops a bombshell.
A Kryptonian-sized bombshell.
Are you talking about Supergirl?
Bingo. Millie Alcock from House of the Dragon is playing Kara Zor-El, Superman's cousin.
Okay, I'm already excited, but you said bombshell, so there's got to be more.
There's a twist.
Don't tell me she's evil.
Not evil, but not exactly the Supergirl we're used to.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
This Supergirl's jaded. She's seen things.
Like what?
The destruction of Krypton.
Oh, wow.
She was there. She witnessed it all.
That's got to leave a mark.
It shaped her worldview, made her more cynical, more guarded.
So we're not getting the bright, optimistic Supergirl.
No, this one's got baggage.
Which makes sense, right? I mean, imagine being a teenager, watching your planet explode and then landing on Earth.
Only to find out your cousin is already a famous superhero.
Talk about a family reunion.
It's going to be interesting to see how they interact.
Will they be allies? Rivals? Will they understand each other's pain?
So many questions.
And this article, it just throws another Kryptonian curveball our way.
Sean Gunn as Maxwell Lord.
The director's brother.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Maxwell Lord, in the comics, he's usually human.
Right, a businessman with metahuman abilities.
But this article, it says he's Kryptonian.
Whoa, that's a major change.
It's like they're taking a familiar character and turning him on his head.
So how does he fit into the Kryptonian equation?
We don't know yet.
Maybe he's a descendant of a Kryptonian who escaped before the planet exploded.
Or maybe he gained his powers through some kind of Kryptonian technology.
Whatever the connection, it adds another layer of mystery. We've got Superman, Supergirl, and now Maxwell Lord, all with ties to this lost civilization.
And let's not forget Metamorpho, the shape-shifting archaeologist.
Oh yeah, the article mentioned that he had a background in archaeology.
Which is interesting because it suggests a different kind of motivation for him.
Maybe he's not just in it for the adventure.
Maybe he's searching for something more.
Knowledge, history.
Maybe even redemption.
I mean, think about it. He can turn into any element.
He could literally become a living artifact.
That's a visual I need to see.
It's going to be epic.
So we've got Kryptonian cousins, shape-shifting archaeologists, gossip columnists at the Daily Planet.
This movie's a wild ride.
My head is spinning.
But isn't it exciting?
It's like they're taking everything we thought we knew about Superman.
Turning it on its head.
And they're doing it with such attention to detail, such respect for the source material.
But also a willingness to take risks, to try new things.
And that's what makes this whole project so fascinating.
It's not just a rehash, it's something new, something bold.
All right, I think we need a break.
Yeah, let's let all this sink in.
We've covered a lot of ground, but we're not done yet.
Stay tuned, because when we come back, we're going to dive even deeper into the heart of this new Superman film.
We're talking themes, ideas, the big questions.
What does it mean to be Superman in today's world?
What does it mean to be human?
We'll be right back.
Okay, so we've talked about the characters, the setting, all the juicy details from this Arabic Wikipedia article.
But I think it's time to go a little deeper, you know?
Yeah, let's talk about the big ideas.
The themes.
What's this movie really about?
At its core, I think it's about identity.
Belonging.
The choices we make that define who we are.
And that's something that resonates with everyone, right?
Absolutely. Especially in today's world, where everything feels so fluid, so uncertain.
We're all trying to figure out where we fit in.
What our purpose is.
And Superman, in many ways, he's the ultimate symbol of that struggle.
Right. He's an alien, but he was raised on Earth.
He's got these incredible powers, but he chooses to live a normal life.
He's constantly trying to balance two worlds, two identities.
And that's something a lot of people can relate to, I think.
Whether it's about cultural identity or sexual identity, or just figuring out who you are as a person.
We all have these different sides to ourselves.
And sometimes it's hard to reconcile them.
But Superman, he shows us that it's possible.
He doesn't shy away from his dual identity. He embraces it.
He uses his powers for good to help others.
And in doing so, he becomes a symbol of hope.
A symbol of unity.
Of bridging those divides that often separate us.
And then you've got Supergirl, who's dealing with a whole other layer of complexity.
Right. She didn't have the benefit of growing up on Earth.
She lost everything, her whole world.
And now she's trying to find her place in this new world.
While also dealing with the fact that her cousin is, Superman.
Talk about treasure.
I think her story is going to be really powerful, really relatable.
Especially for young people who are dealing with loss or trauma or just feeling like they don't belong.
And then there's Maxwell Lord, who's now Kryptonian.
Which throws a whole new wrench into the identity equation.
Right, because now he's not just a human who wants power.
He's got this connection to this lost civilization, this heritage that he never knew about.
How does that affect him?
Does he embrace it?
Reject it?
Use it for his own gain?
So many possibilities.
And that's what I love about this movie.
It's not just a superhero story, it's a story about what it means to be human.
What it means to find your place in the world.
And how we can use our unique abilities, our differences,
To make a difference, to help others.
and ultimately to become the best versions of ourselves.
Well said.
Well, I think that's about all the time we have for today.
But this conversation, it doesn't have to end here.
Right. Keep thinking about these ideas, these themes.
Talk about them with your friends, your family.
And when the movie comes out in 2025,
Let's all go see it together.
and then we can really dive deep.
And unpack all the layers of this incredible story.
Thanks for joining us on this epic deep dive, everyone.
We'll see you next time.
Until then, keep looking up.